Put it in a minute.
Hey, we're fully charged, and we just had a great panel about the graveyard of car manufacturers. And I'm talking to Elliot a little bit further. He's from Fully Charged, and we always watch him, and he basically knows everything about China and about Japan and about all these car manufacturing. And we're just going to have a little talk about it. Hey, Elliot, you are convinced that the #1 car company of the world at the moment,
Yes.
who makes the best cars, who has the most loyal following, and who's everywhere all over,
Yep.
they're going to fail bitterly, and that name and that company is called
Toyota.
Toyota. I mean, they are absolutely on top of the world. Money, value. Now, only Tesla is worth more, but they're doing great on every cylinder. But you don't think they're going to make the EV transition?
But so were Nokia, weren't they? At one point, remember Nokia, the phone company?
Oh yeah,
Top of the
I heard
game.
about that. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they fall away. And I think Toyota's going to very rapidly realise they're going to be out of the market. You know, I don't know if they'll fail completely, but they're so willingly taking such a long time.
But come on, take a long time. Everything with EV is subsidizing. At the moment, 2% of the cars worldwide are electric.
Yes.
They drive maybe 2.5% of the kilometers. You know, it's just like it's tiny. The market is really tiny in terms of network. It's nothing. But surely they know how to make good batteries. Surely they know how to make.
Where are they?
No, I mean they say we basically I think they just cheat. They joke with us about hydrogen.
But that's
and
what
they're
they
just
do.
preparing good batteries, and then they want to take it at the moment that it really becomes a profitable market.
But that's all they do. All they do is talk about, oh, we've got solid state batteries in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. But where is it?
Okay, but EV at the moment is small, right? It's
Not
only
in China.
2%. It's only 2%. No, but the total amount of cars which are driving
Oh,
around the world
yeah.
is 2%. It's 1.4 billion cars.
Yeah.
And there's only 2% of them are electric. Okay, it's growing fast, but I mean it's just small.
Yeah.
So you have time enough to make the transition.
But Kodak thought the same, right?
Yeah, but I mean, but Kodak. Well, I mean, they basically were at a time that digitalization was moving up much quicker. Cars are hard.
Correct.
Cars are hard. They take 20 years to basically replace.
Correct.
So why do you think that? How much years do you think Toyota has?
I would say maybe 10 to 15 years.
Yeah, oh yeah, okay. I would say 7, 8. They really have to commit themselves in the next 5 years, and then they have 5 more years to do it, and then they are fine.
I don't think they're fine.
Okay, good. What about Ford? I mean, Ford basically split the company in two, and they have all this F-150, make huge billions of dollars.
Yeah.
They sell 600,000 of these things, and only 12,000 in that separate.
It's quite sad. Yeah,
I mean, are they failing? Are they failing?
I would say yes. I think they are failing. I think they've made some fundamental mistakes, especially in Europe. They're getting rid of their small cars, right? And none of them are electric. They're not bringing any small electric cars to the market. It's all trucks and vans, which is fine for America.
Yeah.
But what about us?
Yeah.
Where's the Ford Fiesta? Where's the Ford Focus?
Yeah. That used to be very popular cars.
Exactly. And I think they've dropped the ball on that. That's what people want in Europe, right? They want small electric cars.
Yeah.
And I think
I mean everybody. I mean I hate it. I mean these Vietnamese, this
VinFast.
They go, oh, here's another $60,000 car. Okay, I mean I'm so bored with SUV $60,000 cars, blah blah. I want 40,000, 30,000. BYD is more interesting, and then a BYD which costs 30,000 here in Europe. It's 15,000 in China.
Correct.
You know, they are just have so much margin to play with us.
I think the problem with Ford and GM is that they're like this. They've got the blinkers on. They're just like, la, 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 this is America, this is what America wants. And they're forgetting about the rest of the world.
Okay, General Motors, you said. What about
General Motors? Them? Are they probably one of the worst offenders? I mean, they claim they're the world leaders, and you said Biden said that.
Biden said that.
Electric vehicles, Tesla, fine. But GM?
But Biden doesn't talk about Tesla.
No, he doesn't.
It's like really amazing.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
But GM, what do they make?
Yeah.
But I think the important thing about GM is what they're doing in China, because they've got the collaboration with Wuling, and they're making that really cool, cheap EV.
How much? $5,000?
4,000 euros.
4,000 euro. Yeah.
Brand
so that's
new.
what I look. That little bit of hope can when they can bring that to Europe, or well, now they are not in Europe anymore. But I mean,
so I think
in America,
you know what they're doing in China is quite innovative.
Yeah.
They're bringing lots of really cheap, affordable EVs,
really good,
and they sell amazingly well.
50,000 a month or something like
ridiculous like that. But their strategy in Europe is like, oh, wait and see. People still like ICE vehicles.
They sold Europe. We don't do Europe anymore. So that's General Motors. Okay, there's a little bit of light there in the tunnel.
Maybe.
Is there any other Western brands which there's light at the end of the tunnel? I mean, how are the Mercedes and the BMW and Volkswagen doing in China?
So I think they're not doing very well, unfortunately. Sales have declined month on month for each of those brands because they're just not seen as innovative enough. They don't change quickly enough. China, to build a car, to bring a new car to market, it's taken about 9 months. If I'm the boss of Zeekr, for example, he said, bring the 007, their new sedan, I need that in 9 months. And there it is 9 months later, whereas VW's like, oh, we'll bring the new Golf in 2026.
Yeah.
Like 2026? In 3 years? That's too slow, and that's the problem. This, the change and the innovation and the pace in China is just too quick for these
and
manufacturers.
The brand recognition. I mean, in Europe, I think, the Germans, they will just wait for BMW forever. And Mercedes, the same thing. I mean, in Holland, we have also a bunch of people. Do they do that in China too?
So up until before COVID, there was a lot of brand loyalty towards BBA, so Benz, BMW and Audi. But that's completely slipped away over the last 4 years. And now it's seen as a cheap option in China to get a car from a German manufacturer.
Okay.
Because they've dropped the prices so much because they're not competitive. It's seen as the cheap option. So they say, oh, I want to buy a car. Oh, okay. Chinese brands are very expensive. Get the German brands.
Renault, the French. Let's talk about the French. The Citroën,
So there's no Renault in China.
Yeah.
They've basically pulled out the market.
Okay.
There's Citroën just about, but there's very little French in the market.
So they're not there. What do you think are doing in Europe? Citroën comes with a reasonable car.
I actually quite like Citroën, what they're doing, because they're innovative. They're bringing the new design. They don't have to look like a car. They've got the AMI, which I love. They've got the right idea, but they're just talking a little bit too much about concepts, especially Renault. It's like the Twingo, the Renault 5. I'm like, yeah, they look great, but where are they?
Yeah.
So if they can get their act together in the next 18 months and bring out the right car at the right price,
okay,
I think they should be in with a good chance.
Let's talk about the biggest European company, okay, for cars. Volkswagen, Volkswagen, just plus 20 other brands. I mean, they basically committed 5 years ago, after thanks to Dieselgate. Dieselgate was great for Volkswagen.
Yes.
They committed, they closed 20 factories, completely built them to electric. They really committed. How are they doing?
Terribly. And a year ago, I would have said they're on the path to doing something quite successful. But I think since Herbert Diess left, things have got very difficult. Their software is shocking, and it's really
that's
now
the biggest problem, right?
It's holding them back.
Batteries, they have a reasonable design, they have a reasonable quality,
good hardware,
but software is their Achilles heel.
It's killing them, and it's killing them.
Yeah.
And the loyalty from VW is very quickly slipping away to brands like BYD in Europe and in China. So they've got to be so careful.
It's so sad.
It is really sad because I love VW.
Sad. It's so sad. All these nice German people with these nice German cars, high quality. And I think actually, if you look at the BMW electric cars, great cars,
amazing cars,
beautiful cars, very nice user interface. Software is going good. The Autopilot is pretty good. Mercedes the same thing. Good ranges and things. I mean, they know how to do it. It's just a very small percentage of their sales.
Yeah, and so they're not really fully committing just yet. And I think the price,
plug-in hybrid,
a bit of hybrid, or maybe a bit of hydrogen if it's BMW.
Oh, yeah.
Let's not go down that road.
Nobody ever saw. Okay, now, this is about that electric stuff, right?
Yeah.
Is that transition really important? Is that now the biggest thing we have to go from, everybody has a car with ICE, or everybody has a car with EV?
That's a good question.
Or this other thing, I think actually I'm much more interested who wins this robo-taxi and this autopilot war, so that you really, when you drive, it's fun.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I do with my Tesla. I mean, we have now 15 seconds that you can drive, and we have a little piece of, little thing around it. I can drive totally to the other side of the world, and it's fun. I mean, I don't care where I am, but especially that's for my own individual need. But that needs to be perfect, and we're getting there. But this autopilot, this robot pilot thing, I mean, what will that do to the industry?
So I'm hoping it's going to really disrupt the industry. I think all of us on Fully Charged, even though we drive a lot of cars, fundamentally think that our cities should change to a much more car-free environment. So we're all for public transport. Things like cargo bikes are one part of the solution. And I think, those robo-cars with no drivers, you don't own the car subscriptions, is a much better way forwards. And I think the innovations that are happening in China and in Europe with self-driving, a lot of LiDAR companies and things like that, I think within 18 months we'll see a car in China on the market with no steering wheel.
Yeah.
and that will fundamentally change the way we think about
cars. And
cars.
they need it because their cars, their cities are impossible. I mean,
yeah.
you can have a car now in China, but you cannot go anywhere. It's horrible.
It is
not
one
great. Big, gigantic, gridlock country. So, I mean, they had bikes.
Yeah.
They had everybody was biking. Then everybody's car, and they had pollution. Now they have a car with a little bit less pollution, but it's impossible.
Correct.
So, multiple people in the car,
yeah.
and not parking your car everywhere, and not having, just sharing a car.
Yeah.
Will that kind of, thinking of innovation, will that come from China? Are they really into that, or does everyone say, "Hey, I have a car that's part of my personality, of my lifestyle. It proves that I'm a successful guy." I mean, is that there, or will they be able to make the change?
So I actually think that's shifting in Europe first.
Yes.
I think young people in young people in Europe now don't really want to own a car who live in cities.
No.
They're like, it's a hindrance, right? It holds them back. It's expensive. Yeah. They don't want that. I think it will happen in Europe first, and then it will happen in China. But electrification.
And in America,
never.
No, but in the big cities they do.
Big cities, yeah.
Big cities, yeah.
East Coast, West Coast.
Yeah.
I think electrification is the first step on the way to having much more livable cities without cars, fundamentally.
Yeah, and that's what we're going to talk about, in the next couple of years. Now we're basically who's losing market share, who's still. I mean, I think that is just more. In 2035, we won't be able to sell any kind of car. I think way before that.
Yeah.
But we have one big other battle: get rid of subsidizing. What year do you think that? You don't go like, oh, it's really important what the government thinks, and if we basically, like the Dutch just got a sort of a Donald Trump who hates electric cars, who hates electric subsidizing, Peter Omtzigt. So we're going to have very expensive driving for electric cars because they're heavy, and so you have a lot of tax.
Yeah.
And we won't give you any subsidizing anymore, and we'll see how the revolution will go. So there's still taxation war. Will that be interesting?
Yeah, I think. It could either, it could go two ways, right? I think the movement has already started in the Netherlands, right?
Absolutely.
And I don't think you can stop that. Now, it might get more expensive for a few years, but what's going to happen is, BYD will drop their prices. Mm-hmm. They'll drop their prices so it's more affordable, and that's what will happen. The market will respond to that because they want to sell cars, right?
Yeah.
And so they'll just respond to those market changes in terms of taxes.
Yeah, we'll see that. I mean, China actually was also the first to stop all those subsidizing.
Correct.
First they stopped subsidizing.
Yep.
Then you could get a number plate, and you had to wait 7 years for a nice car. And
that's
now,
right.
But that stopped too.
Almost.
And now they hate now cars. They want less cars on the road. So now that is basically what the Chinese are doing.
Yeah.
So. And still, the percentage is keeping going up, and the prices of the cars are really going down.
That's right. So, who knows what will happen in the next few years? I think. I don't know. I mean, I hope you don't get taxed to the hilt here in the Netherlands. But
we will. My car will cost €2,000 a year just to put it on the road.
It's so sad if that
and
does happen.
then they'll put on, I think, taxation on the electricity, or they say, hey, you don't contribute as much as the gasoline cars, so I'll put another tax on top of you because you have to pay your fair share.
Do you think that will happen?
Oh yeah. Yeah. They say we have basically subsidizing the electric car guys so much, and they were all the rich people. And now the people who are now basically the politicians have been chosen, saying the rich guys got a break, and the normal people, the real people of the Netherlands, they basically got fucked up. We're going to make gasoline cheaper, and we're going to make electricity more expensive. Watch us and see. That's going to be a nice little experiment, nice little country. And you don't have to worry about it, but you can see what's happening, and next year we can talk about it.
Yeah, look forward to it.
Okay, thank you very much for your time. It was a great panel. Did we tape it?
No, I don't think we did. You have to come to Fully Charged Live to see it.
And tomorrow you can still be there. Come.
Yep.